Hey everybody, welcome back. I am bored. COVID made me bored, and today at the table, I am taking a look at and playing Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core. This is a cooperative survival game from Gale Force 9. This is actually the second release of the game. I think it was released, it's got to be a couple of years by now. I can't remember. Actually, you know what? Let me take a look at the back of the box so I can see probably exactly when it was. But yeah, this was a few years ago. They had released this. I think it was a Kickstarter. I'm not 100% sure. There are expansions for this game, and they did a re-release, a second print. I don't think anything's been changed except for maybe some clarifications in the rule books. I'm not sure. And this is a dungeon crawl adventure game based in the Aliens world and ripped right out from the pages of the Aliens movie. Now, when I was growing up, this movie and the movie before it, I don't know, prequel, not the prequel, but the movie before it, which was Alien, scared the bejesus out of me. I'm sorry. It was the kind of movie where it was so awesome, but so scary that you just had to watch it, not just once, several times. But I'm sorry. The chest busting face huggers, those give me nightmares every time I look at a spider now. But this was an amazing movie that I really loved. I loved the Aliens more than the first one, only because you had the Marines, you had Corporal Hicks, you had Burke, just the antagonist, and just a different different vibe, sort of a more brute vibe going into the movie, knowing that you've got these Marines that are gonna kick some butt. Well, at least you think they were going to. So when they did the re-release of this, I thought, yeah, it was on sale. Most of the time when I try to get a game, I try to wait for a sale. This wasn't it was a modest sale. It was like maybe 10-15% off. Actually, I did some online price matching, and fortunately, the local game store that I typically shop at was willing to price match, so I was happy. So I picked this up, and I obviously, like all my other board games, I sort of read the rules ahead of time, and I was really thinking, do I need another dungeon crawler? This is really, again, I'm all IP based. I love themes, and Aliens was the kind of movie that I could really say that would be a great adventure to go into. The way that this game is set up is very story driven, so it's just like from the movie, and it doesn't, because there are expansions, this only gives you the sort of 3 missions based on the movie, and you do need to buy the expansions if you sort of want to finish the story. That's unfortunate, but I guess if this was some kind of Kickstarter and it was, the expansions were part of that extra add-on, then that makes sense. But it's unfortunate for me since I only have the first 3. But there's enough variety in here. I'll go through the options that you have to keep it fresh. And quite honestly, the experience going through this game, it's tense. I find this game very tense. And maybe it's because it was the first few times I was playing it. I mean, I thought Hellboy was pretty tense when I started playing it. I thought Doom was pretty tense when I started playing it. Gears of War. Those are the sort of the dungeon crawler games that I have, and that I've had playthrough videos on those, so you can check those out. And they all pretty much have a very similar feel, just slight differences in mechanics. But again, at the end of the day, this is more about the theme. This is for, I believe, 1 to 6. And it's ages 14 higher, only because of some of the language used. And I guess if you take a look at the aliens, yeah, they're pretty gross, right? So, and the playtime is about 1 to 2 hours, which I feel is about right. Setup time is not terrible, but playtime definitely, when you are playing this game, it's kind of you can play it solo, and that's what I do. But between turns, yeah, it's not terrible downtime. You really only have, a handful of actions that you take on your turn, and I think it's 2 actions that you take on your turn, and then that's it. So it should move fairly quickly, but there's 6 characters, and very similar to sort of Zombicide, you always have 6 characters. I kind of think I missed that part when I was reading the rule book. I thought you could play with just 1 or 2, but you are controlling 1 character or 2 characters if you're playing solo, and the other 4 are grunts. So they are characters without any special abilities, but you still equip them the same way. So you have, I found very challenging to manage all of that. It's a lot. So I do dumb it down a little bit in terms of when I use grunts. It does make the experience a little harder, but that's fine. I don't mind the challenge. And aside from that, I mean, I'm not a fan of controlling more than 4. Even the Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance that I have, the 4 was enough. But you're not managing any cards in this game, or very little cards in this game. But you do have to be mindful of all your equipped weapons, especially when you're talking about the weapons you have, the equipment you may have, and the timing of those equipments, when you can use them, or under what circumstances. So you kind of have to run through every character to make sure, or know your character very well, plus what you're equipping them with. Fortunately, it's not like there's a huge variety of guns and weapons in the core box here. So you kind of remember, oh, when I fire with this weapon, I know exactly what it does. So that's kind of a good and a bad in this situation. So going on to the game itself, so it's cooperative. It's fully cooperative. And just like the Aliens movie, you are going in, finding out that there's been some trouble at oh gosh, what was the planet's name? LV-426, and Hadley's Hope, the base. Haven't had any communication. Ripley says, well, first of all, with this movie, I love this movie so much that a lot of the key quotes from the movie I incorporate in my everyday life. Like, did IQs just suddenly drop sharply while I was away? Or game over? Game over, man! Game over! And, that's just been incorporated. I say we take off, nuke the site from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. So this game, just like the movie, you're going in to do a rescue, which you think was a rescue, but it's no rescue. You're only rescuing really one person. And then the rest of the story is survival. So the game works very similar. You have 3 missions that you have based in the movie, or segments in the movie, and then you've got a couple other what they call bug hunt missions, which are sort of one-off missions that you can do. Now you can play them as a campaign, so from start to finish, or you can play them independently as one-offs. So you've got a whole bunch of game board setups, or I guess, as opposed to a mission book, they decide to give you these individual pamphlets of each mission. I think I would have preferred a mission book. It's a little easier, but anyways. So the very first mission you've got here, it's Newt, and it shows you the map layout. You've got 4 double-sided tiles. Basically, one tile is the Hadley's Hope. The other tile is the compound. I forgot what they call it. The whatever those generators were, those compounds. So you got that other side, and you can do a handful of configurations. So it's going to lay out all the necessary information that you need, including, which I'll get to, where the blips go, which is starting aliens. And that's one thing I like about this game in terms of tension is the blips represent, just like the motion tracker, is that you don't know how many aliens are coming. You just know they're in the vicinity, but you don't know how much. Could be 1, could be 2, could be a dozen, could be the whole crew. We don't know. And that's the tension that this game brings. And you don't know until you have a line of sight, until you have eyes on these blips. I really like that part of this because all the blip tokens, they have a number on the underside. So when you finally get in line of sight of these blips, it means you've made contact. You've made visual contact. You flip over the blips and it tells you exactly how many aliens are actually in that group. So it could be from 1 to 5, and then when you're talking about multiples, I've had at least 9 show up all in one sitting, and I gotta tell you, it's frightening. And it's not a movie. I'm not actually watching a movie, but I feel it. So you've got the spawn points, you've got your starting location, you've got other elements that may be needed or required, including some tokens. They could include like crate boxes for weapon searches and stuff like that, or a computer terminal to give you some kind of benefit or advantage. And then on the back of each mission, you'll have the guide, basically what your goal is, and most of it is survival. Get out, get to the extraction. How do you win and how do you lose? Obviously, losing in this game is when you're killed. Dying in this game is kind of twofold. You could potentially have a face hugger on you, in which case you're considered dead, or you can be captured. It all depends on your dice roll and whether or not you're able to really put up enough of a fight that they want to keep you, to breed you. So that's one interesting game part of this game. And then when you die, it's not like everyone loses, but you need a minimum number of survivors at the end of the game to at least consider it a successful mission. So I think it's, for example, right here, if so in this case, you're rescuing Newt, just like at the beginning of the movie. You don't know she's there, but you find out that she is. Once all the surviving characters and Newt move on to the exit, the mission ends. If Newt and 2 or more other characters survive the mission is successful. Otherwise, the mission ends in failure. So if you lose some members of your team during the course of this particular mission, but you have Newt and at least 2 survivors, you can move on to the next mission. In which case, you would only have those characters. They don't resurrect, they don't come back. So if you think about you got 6 friends over and 4 of you die, that means 4 of you won't be playing the next mission. It's kind of, well, at least one of you won't be playing the next mission. So it kind of sucks like that in terms of player count and player elimination. But the nice thing is that if you're just captured by the alien, you have an opportunity to go rescue them, which I think is very neat. Anyways, so it's going to lay out all the information that you need, including how to set up the specific decks and anything specific to character or elements in the map or in the game that you need to read. And they are slightly different between each one. So you have the second mission, which is after you've rescued Newt, you need to escape and get out of there. You want to try to make it through make it to the APC and get to the extraction point. Again, it's all about extraction points. You've got the third mission, which is survival, and this is where Ripley is trying to get out with Newt and survive. They've been trapped in that medical room, so they're trying to get out of there. So again, this is maybe halfway into the movie, it kind of feels like, because the expansion that you have out there, I think it's get away from her, you biatch. That one is the continuation, I guess, mission 4 and 5 or whatever, where you encounter the alien queen and you're trying to not get stomped on. And I think Bishop is in that, as well as another character. I think Burke is in that character. We don't have Burke in this one. We just have Lieutenant Gorman, the useless lieutenant. So you'll notice that this has a lot more involvement in terms of game setup and game rules or what is applicable. And I'll go through that in a minute. And then you have a handful of other map setups or mission setups, which are independent from the 3 missions that it comes with. So there's the first 2 here, which is really interesting, which is called a supply mission and a rescue mission. What I like about this is it's really interesting. It gives you the option. So like I was saying, in any one of the missions, except for mission 3, because it doesn't matter, but if you had the expansion, you could potentially do a rescue mission, is at any point during the mission, if your crew or a handful of your crew soldiers or Marines gets captured, you have the option to try to rescue them. So you can actually do this rescue mission. So it's not like you do mission 1 and then, 2 people got captured. Okay, got to move on to mission 2 with just 4 characters. No, you can say, okay, you know what, guys? Let's go on a rescue mission. So on that rescue mission, you can follow this layout. The C's here denote captured, and you follow the rules that are set up on the back, and you can go in and you can rescue them. And if you are successful, they can now proceed onto the mission with you because you've rescued them. I like that, because that gives you an interesting choice. It gives you the interesting choices. Do you want to risk more captures or more deaths by going to rescue? Or are you so confident enough that you can go in to get your Marine group back to the full complement? And on top of that, which I'll get to in a little bit, is the endurance deck. All these things are matter. And the other part is too, this one is, again, optional. It's a supply run. So you may want to I guess, improve your either your weapons or your equipment or the cards in your endurance deck to help you into the next mission. This is, again, a gamble. It may work, it may not. But in this situation, ammo supplies are running low. We need a thorough search of the area to gather supplies. Be quick and grab what you can, but do not use more resources than we can recover. And in this game, there is a bit of resource management, and that is important. And that is your endurance deck. And then you have three, and any one of these can be just played on its own, right? You don't have to play it as a campaign. And then you've got four bug hunt missions. I think, I'm not sure if they added one or not, but I feel like maybe there was 3 in the original release. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can comment below and just correct me on that. So you're going to have 4 bug hunt missions, and these are the one-offs. These are the ones that use the same map tiles, but just a different layout. And all it is survival. And the only major difference between this and the missions is that in the missions, you typically have a set of equipment that you can give to your soldiers, your Marines, weapons and equipment. But in Bug Hunt, all you have is a pistol. And it's your job to find more weapons. So I like that. And I think my playthrough today will be using a bug hunt example as opposed to going through the mission. Everyone's seen the movie by now, so there's no surprises. And it's just to give you an overall flow of the game. But in terms of the mechanics, the play is exactly the same. It's just that your starting equipment for bug hunts is just a pistol and you don't get any other bonus. So that could make it significantly challenging, and your goal is to try to find some more. So there's 4 there. So all in all, you've got quite a bit. You've got, 9? Yeah, you have 9 different, I guess, missions, if you want to call them that. And that adds to enough replay ability. And for me, I feel like I really want to get that expansion. I really want to face off with the Alien Queen. One of the things to note is that this is a miniatures game. So it does come with minis. And I've got my 2 bags of minis right here. I've got my Marines. Right here, I'll just show you one. Who's this one? This one is Frost. No, this one's Hicks. So you can see Corporal Hicks. Miniature sizes are nice. They've got really good detail, and they're nice, sort of this hard plastic. And then you've got aliens that come in 3, I think, different poses. Well, I'm going to say 3 different poses, but I'll get to that in a minute. So you've got the aliens here, which actually detail I think is really nice. And I think in the very first release, and here's another one. Let me show you this one. Here's another one. And I think in the original release of this game, they didn't tell you that these miniatures come on sprues, disassembled. And I think as a result, in this print, if you look at the back of the box, it tells you models require assembly. Model parts are supplied on sprues and require plastic cutters to remove and plastic glue to assemble. Glue and cutters are not included. It's a very long disclaimer, and I'd say, they could definitely have made it smaller print like this if they wanted to get away with something, but clearly I think this may have been left out in the first print of the game. So there you go. This all requires assembly. And these all came on sprues. I think I took a couple shots of the sprues, sprues for the Marines that you can see, and I have sprues for the aliens. And what's neat about the aliens is that their arms. So you have 2 different heads, 2 different style heads. Basically, one that looks like it's sort of open mouth, and one that has the inner mouth coming out, which is the gross part in the movie that I really, when that happened, it just freaked me out. You have different types of tails, the layout, and you have 3 different bodies, I guess, in terms of how they're positioned, and the arms are separate. So when I'm building these, I can actually take the same body. I think this is the same body. No, this is a different body. But I can position the arms differently, and I can position a different tail. So you're talking a really nice permutation of and I think there's 16. I think there are 16 aliens in this game. Yeah, there are 16 models in this game, and seven Marines, well, including Newt. And with that, you can really create very unique poses for all 16, well, mostly different poses for all 16 aliens. But assembling them was kind of a long process. I'd say it took me about, well, I was very slow at the beginning because I'm not a miniature assembler. I think this is I've done Gundam before. This is a little different. And it took me about 45 minutes times 2, so 90 minutes to go through. I think a lot of people gripe about that, but I reflect back on my days with SEAL Team Flicks, where I had to put together the game boards. And I had to pop out all the wall tiles and glue them in place, and that took me like 3 hours. And I was slow too. So I was a little bit more careful with these, so I don't think 90 minutes is reflective of what you may experience, especially if you've built minis before. But regardless, it does take time. And it's not the kind of game where you open it up and you can start playing right away. It doesn't work like that. The glue that I used, for anybody that cares, I just bought this from like a Walmart. It's Gorilla Glue Super Glue, but this is with the very fine tip. Well, as fine of a tip as I could get it, to make sure that it doesn't take very much to get it to glue in place. In fact, I had a couple times where my fingers got a little stuck. But I think a lot of people complain about the tail. The tail, it's very difficult to put in place. There's a very small sort of ball and socket connection piece. So the butt has the socket, and the tail end has kind of a round nub that it fits in. Quite honestly, with this glue, it's been good. I put this in a baggie, and I haven't had a tail fall off yet. So that's a good combination in my eyes, is to have it like that. So those are the minis. And you've got the map tiles. There were 4 map tiles, as I said, that are double-sided. Fairly good size. I think it's enough to, I have a 3x3 table. It's enough to fill a good portion of the table. And they're double-sided. I don't think there are maps that use, a combination of both sides. It's either one side or the other that you're using with all 4, because one's Haley's Hope and the other one is the atmospheric processing basement compound or whatever. You're going to have your character cards. So you've got Hudson, and there's 2 sides to these. I'll explain in a minute. You got Hudson, Hicks, Frost, Vasquez, Ripley, Gorman, and Newt. And I think with the expansion, the other expansion, the one with the Queen, you get the Queen, obviously. You get Bishop, and you get Burke, I think. And I think the other expansions, I think there's a new one, the 5x5. We're in the pipe 5x5, another phrase I include in my daily day today. We're in the chop, or get ready for some chop. That's another expansion. I think that's new, and something I'm actually looking forward to. I might get that one. These are double-sided, but just to go through the details. So this is the, I guess, the hero or Marine side. Then on the other side, you've got the grunt side. So the Marine side is when you are choosing a character, that's a side that you're going to be using. Anyone else who's not controlling a character, if you don't have enough players, or you're playing solo, the rest of them would be grunt, so you'd use their grunt side. And really, they have a slight differences in stats. So for the Marine side, you're going to see a couple things. Obviously, their name. They have a rank. They have their association or whatnot. They've got their name. You get 2 weapons that you can equip. One weapon on the left, it's a card, and one weapon on the right, which can only be a designated weapon that has the keyword backup on it. You also have some abilities. It could happen during activation or on activation or at the end of activation. So in this case, Hudson has both. And then you've got your various values, your speed, which is the number of squares on the grid that you're able to move if you take a move action. You have a defense value, which is when you're rolling dice. I'll show the dice in a minute. When you're rolling a dice, you need to hit that, at least that or less. Sometimes I get confused. I think it's this or less to meet the requirement, but I'm going to double check that. And melee is if you are attacked by an alien and the dice roll that you did for your defense ends up being a 2, you end up punching the alien back. That I'm going to clarify as well. It's a little fuzzy in my mind. Tech roll, same thing. For a tech roll, you need a 7 or higher in order to be a successful tech roll. And tech roll tends to be when you are activating a console or opening a door or sort of placing a barricade or breaking a barricade. There are certain actions that you can take where you're doing something and other than shooting, and that's the tech value. It should really, I would call that the skill value because it's a skill, right? And then you've got the aim, which refers to your aim, the aim dial that you have. And aiming in this game is very interesting because you do have the option to, even though you take an action to shoot once, you can exhaust cards to continue shooting, but every time you shoot, your aim gets worse and worse until you run out, until you hit that threshold where the gun jams or whatever. So I'll go through that once I get to that point, but that's also very interesting. And then you've got 2 slots at the bottom of your card for equipment. It could be a helmet, could be a bulletproof vest or whatnot. So just coming back to the rule set for the various attributes that you have. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's the value or less when you roll. So you're going to be rolling a dice. So except for speed. So for example, when you're being attacked by an alien, you roll a single, I think it's a D10. If you get a 6 or less, you have successfully defended yourself and avoided. You dodged out of the way. If you didn't, or if you rolled it and you rolled a 2, you end up doing a sort of a counter, and you end up hitting them and killing the alien as you're dodging out of the way. Obviously, if you roll higher than your defense, you failed and you potentially get captured or you get knocked down. And the rules for capture is if you're knocked down at the start of the next alien phase, which I'll go through the phases, you would be captured. For the tech, again, 7 or less, and for the aim, 6 or less when you're rolling. So it'll make more sense when I actually do the gameplay. On the other side, I forgot to mention, on the other side is the grunt side. The grunt side, so now you'll notice a lot of the information is gone. Your values for your attributes are a little bit less than the marine side, and you don't have your abilities. So like I was saying, when you're playing this game, you are going to be playing with 6 characters. Whether you're playing solo or not, you're playing 6. As solo, you'll be using 2 Marines that have the Marine side face up, and the remaining 4 will use their grunt side. Now, you'll see that you can still equip a weapon and a backup weapon and 2 equipment. This is where I feel like it becomes a bit cumbersome. You're literally, even though their stats are different, you're literally playing with them as a regular character, and it's not automated in any way. When you think about like playing solo or playing with the 6 characters, but you have less than 6 people. I feel like there should be sort of like a default. So if it's a grunt, you get a default hit of 3 or, a default whatever, and don't have any equipment. But the only thing you're really missing is the ability and your increased stats. So in my mind, I feel like if I'm going to be playing with all 6, I might as well just have all 6 with all their abilities, and then I might as well just make it that much more complicated, right? But it's just more stuff to keep track of. So that's the 2 sides of the character card. Then you'll have you got a bunch of tokens. You've got exit tokens. You've got the blips, as I was mentioning before. So it's a bag of blips and a bag of alien tokens. Now, this is also something really interesting. Is you have these. First of all, let's go with the blips. These are the blips, and at the beginning of the game, you have a set number of blips that are out. During the various phases of the game, you will be spawning or producing more blips, and the blips, like I said, you don't know what they are. It's like your motion tracker. And it gets more tense as they approach you and get closer, and every round they are moving closer and closer to you, and once they become within your line of sight, you would flip them over to see how many aliens are actually at that location. And when that happens, when you reveal it, so for example, let's just say I take this one. It's a blip, I flip it over, it's a 4. So on my map, I'm going to pull out one of my models, because remember, I only have 16 of these, so it could quickly eat through 16. So you would take this model, and you would put them down in that space. And then because there's 3 more with him, you would take these alien tokens and you would stack them underneath. You would stack them underneath. So I'd take 3, oops, 3, and stack them underneath. So he is essentially a cluster or a group or a horde of 4. And if I'm shooting at this particular character and I'm trying to eliminate, it's on a successful hit, these aliens take 1 hit. 1 shot, there's no health on them, 1 shot, 1 kill. But in a stack like this, you would eliminate the bottom stack up until the point where you can eliminate the model. So you'll have a variety, in some cases, multiple models or minis of these aliens out with several stacks of alien tokens underneath them. And that's because there's no way that you can have this number of spawn of aliens in the board. It would be too messy. And I actually like this mechanic. I like this sense that, yeah, it's just sort of representing it, but you realize that you've got a stack of 6 tokens underneath there. So it's not just 1, you're looking at 7 that you have to comb through and mow down. So I really like that. So you have a variety of other tokens like the computer token, the spawn point token. You've got actually a token for Newt in the very first mission. You actually have sentry tokens here, which was one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they mounted out and hooked up the sentry guns and they were just ripping away. So I really like that. You've got crate tokens and barricade tokens. Now, barricade tokens are something that you can do to fortify your position. And it's a very, very tiny token. I don't know if you can see it. And what this does is it allows you to barricade doors. So if you have a door at your location, so on this map, I've got the red parts are the doors. Now, the way I forgot to explain is the red is considered they're closed, and if you become adjacent to that door in one of these squares right adjacent to the door, it is considered open. And the only reason you need to know that is for line of sight. So if my character was right here and I had an alien over here, okay, they don't see each other right now. That door is closed. But the moment I move in here on my turn, this is now considered open and I have line of sight. Now, if this was a blip, I would automatically reveal it. So one of the things that you can do in this game is create a barricade. And I just had here it is. And what you can do is for a skill check or a tech check, you can drop in a barricaded door, or you can barricade the door. What you're going to do it fast, and you just seal that door shut. And that prevents aliens from coming through. Now, blips, they would enter, if they come through, they'll enter through here. But as far as I understand, they can't get past that door. If it was an alien, they would actually roll an alien dice, and I believe on a value of 5 or 6, I'll have to double check, they can actually bust through the barricade. Very thematic, just like the movies. You see them looking, when you're looking at the door, you see fists trying to punch through, or you hear the banging, and they're inside the compound, man. How'd they get inside the compound? So that's one interesting aspect, is that you can barricade doors. So those are the barricade tokens, and you also have crate tokens for doing weapon searches and whatnot. You've got your aim dials. So every character will have a certain value for their aim dial, and this is for when you're shooting weapons. So let's just say it starts at a 6. Okay, let's say it's no, actually I think it's Hicks is at 7, and kind of thematic. Hicks is sort of the more seasoned veteran Marine, so he's got the highest aim value. So if Hicks were to take a turn and take a shoot action, he has to roll 7 or less for it to be a successful shot. Now, there's only line of sight in this game. There's no range. Range is infinite. So if you're at one end of the hallway, where's the map here? So if Hicks is down here and Alien is over here, first of all, he's within line of sight. Anything that obstructs line of sight is the black walls, anything surrounding black, and I believe the white. But the white is more for obstructing movement. So if Hicks was here, I can't move here. I have to go around. You can move. Movement is both orthogonal and regular. I forgot what the diagonal and orthogonal. But you can't move across. These are sort of obstructions. But I do not believe that these impact line of sight. Only the black walls do, and barricaded doors, and these closed doors. So right here, he would have line of sight, and he has range. So range, there is no specific for range. But for aliens, when they're attacking, they have to be directly adjacent. So this alien cannot. And it's, again, thematic. He can't attack from there. You just see him moving very quickly. So if Hicks was to take that aim action or that shoot action, he rolls a 8, so it's a success. But on that, right after that shot, he now decreases his aim dial by 1. If he were to take another shot, now he needs. Sorry, I'm so stupid. I get my terminology confused with other games. 7 or less. 7 or less, guys. 7 or less. So he hits a 6. He gets it. Then this goes down. He wants to take another shot. He takes another shot. It has to be 6 or less. So he gets another one. And as you notice, it becomes more and more challenging for him to continue firing his weapon. And in a way that's, to me, it's thematic. I've never, I've gone to the gun range twice. And I have shot off a semi-automatic, I guess. And I can see every time there's recoil, right? So I can imagine on a sort of a semi-automatic or automatic weapon, your ability to maintain precision gets affected the more shots you take. You usually take one shot, sort of reposition yourself, do a re-aim, and then take a shot again. So this is what this is sort of reflecting. And if I roll on my third shot, I rolled an 8, that's it. All of a sudden my weapon jams, darn. And then that requires another action to try again. But you're still stuck at this aim dial of 5. It doesn't reset until the end of the Marine round. You'll have the dice. So we've got the dice. It is a D10 for the Marines and a D6 for the aliens. So the Marine one is used for your skill checks or your tech checks, and as well as some requirements sometimes for certain cards that you use. And the alien dice is for blip movement, as well as certain alien effects as well. And I'll get to that in a bit. You also have your Marine cards. These are your endurance cards. So this is where it's a little bit interesting. Your endurance deck allows you to go through the various card types. It has weapons, hazards, which have to be resolved right away, event cards, and equipment cards. Those are the 4 types of cards in your endurance deck. And at the beginning of the game, you are free to take out whatever you need to equip your Marine. So I can take a M41A pulse rifle and pair it with some M40 grenades. You'll see that M40 grenades has the keyword grenade back up close, and that does matter depending on what you're doing. And once you've equipped your Marines, whatever you have left in this deck is your endurance deck. At any point, if you run out of the endurance deck and there's nothing, well, it's a 3-phase. Once you've run out of these cards, basically, you've lost. That's one of the losing conditions, aside from having all your team members killed. And obviously, the winning condition is that you survive. So what will happen is, during the course of the game, you're going to have sort of this this little, I guess, divider to help you keep track of what's going on. So I've got the endurance deck, which goes here. I have an exhaust pile, and I have a discard pile. And this is sort of interesting because you are sort of managing your overall stamina of the team. And there'll be certain things that you need to do, whether it's an action you want to take or a weapon that you want to fire, that requires you to exhaust cards. So I'm going to exhaust a card. I'm going to be exhausting cards and exhausting cards to the point where this deck will run out. And if I run out of that, I start to discard cards from the exhaust pile, and I'm going to discard them. Okay. So the difference between these two, exhaust and discard, is if you exhaust cards, you do have the option to sort of take a rest and sort of replenish and rejuvenate your strength, in which case you can put a handful or whatever number that you're allowed to back into your endurance deck. But there'll be situations where you are required to discard cards directly. Anything in the discard pile is gone. And in fact, to a certain extent, those are actually going to be gone from the game. So at the end, if you win the mission, there's usually some kind of benefit where you can take a few cards from your discard pile and put it back into your endurance deck. This will, as you go through the campaign missions, this will start to wither down. So, and the thing is, you don't know what kind of cards you'll be missing. So your only opportunity is if you have a successful mission and you can reclaim some important cards that you might want from your discard pile back into your endurance. So it'll be exhaust. If there's no cards left to exhaust, you're going to discard exhaust cards to pay for cards that you want to play or pay for actions. And then if there's no more in either pile, endurance or exhaust, you've lost. So I think that's really interesting. That's a very interesting way to manage not just surviving, but manage, not necessarily hand manage, but now you're talking about the card stack manage. The other card aspect that we have here are your motion tracker cards, which I love this idea. So these are the various types of motion tracker cards. They vary in, I guess, level of difficulty. So this one's medium because it's a medium spread of aliens. You've got just 2, so this might be something light, not too terrible. Then you've got terrible. So you've got those 3 categories, and basically these cards will tell you how many aliens are spawning at what location. So this will tell you how many blips are going to be spawning at location 2 on the board, and usually there's some kind of effect that takes place, and it's not always good. There's a handful that might be sort of a close call, so it actually doesn't have anything. I don't think I can find it. False alarm. So a false alarm, and it tells you to recycle 1 card, and recycling is the ability to take 1 card from the exhaust and put it back into underneath at the bottom of your endurance deck. So that is the interesting way, and every round a handful of these cards are drawn, and so that they deploy the alien blips. I think that's pretty much covering a lot of it. I think there's just a lot more rules to go through, but I don't think I want to cover every single rule. It's going to make more sense as I play the bug hunt. So that basically goes through the components, the setup. It all boils down to 3 main phases. You've got the marine phase, which is where you are going to resolve, you're going to reset all your aim dials. That's the nice part, is everyone goes back to their default aim setting. And then you can choose to equip endurance cards. And going back to the endurance cards, I forgot to show, there's a cost here. Let's just say this one. So if you have this, if you so happen to have this in your hand, and mind you, you don't always have a lot of cards in your hands, and that's because you don't want to have a lot of cards in your hands because you want this endurance deck to be quite plentiful. The cost is 2. The cost here means you need to exhaust 2 cards from your endurance deck into the exhaust pile to pay for this to equip it. Event cards typically don't have costs, but some do, and these are sort of the one time they play and gives you an effect, and these are the cards that you have to exhaust. So anytime it makes a reference to exhausting a card, it comes from your endurance deck. There may be opportunities in the game where you exhaust from your hand. If you have no cards in your hand to exhaust, then I believe you can exhaust from the endurance deck. I'm not 100% sure. So all these will have a cost. It'll tell you the type, and it gives you the text in terms of their effect. So if you choose to equip a card, you can. If not, that's fine too. And then you can perform up to 2 actions, and you have a handful of actions that you can do. Obviously, the first action that you can take is you can move. The second action that you can take is taking a shoot action, and or an attack action, and that's where you would choose the weapon that you have, choose the target that you're looking at. You'd roll the dice based on your aim dial or based on the condition, and either success or failure, and then move on. So up to 2 actions. And I forgot to mention here as well, say for example, Hicks, you'll see that he has a rank level 2. Rank, it plays an important part here as well. If I was a player, if there's more than one player here, if I'm playing solo, it doesn't matter. But every character will take a turn. But as the player with Hicks, you would choose which player wants to go first during the marine phase. And then after I've done my turn with Hicks, I can also control up to 2 grunts because I have a rank of 2. So two of the non-NPCs that are on the board, I can now activate them, and they each get 2 actions using the cards that they have equipped. For example, here with Hudson, if I'm the player playing Hudson, I can, after my activation with Hudson, I can use his rank to control or command 1 grunt. After that's done, whatever grunts are left over, they would activate, and it can be a collaborative effort between the people playing with your play group. But at the end of the day, all 6, or at least all 6, will do an activation. You can also do an interact action, which is sort of using your tech test to place a barricade, or to open a barricade, or to interact with a computer. You can also use an action to increase your aim dial. So you can increase your aim dial by 1. And that might be useful if you're going into a round where you may have to be doing some defending. You have another action that you can take, which is a rest action. And that's where I was telling you, when you take a rest action, you can draw up to 2 cards from the endurance deck, and then you can recycle up to 3 cards from the exhaust pile or from your hand back into the endurance deck. So that's how you're keeping this endurance deck, the important endurance deck, adequate, sufficient enough to get you through the mission. The other action that you can take, I think, is it. I don't think there's any. There might be specific card actions that you can take by paying the cost, but that is pretty much it. And then it moves into the alien phase. The alien phase, you'll go and activate the aliens, and the aliens are very basic. They have a movement value of 6, so they will obviously move towards the closest marine with the shortest path. And if they become adjacent, they automatically attack. What's interesting in this game too is if the alien becomes close enough to the marine, before the alien attacks, you have 1 opportunity to fire your weapon as a reaction. If you fail it, then the alien attacks you. And that's where you roll your defense. If you roll your defense, which Hicks was, 6? I rolled a 10, so he's knocked down. He's knocked down, and that's it. And he's not dead, he's just knocked down. And then if at the beginning of the next alien phase, I think it's the alien phase, if this alien is still beside this marine, then he's captured. If Hicks rolls, I think, a 10 on his defense, then he's dead. It's an immediate kill. So the 10 here, I believe, is like the crit. But I will double check that to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And then you're going to activate Blips. Blips, you will, because there's usually 4 tiles, or always 4 tiles, you'll go from one tile to the next tile activating the Blips. And what you'll do is you'll roll the alien die, and you'll move the Blips the number of spaces towards the closest alien, closest marine. Once you've moved all the Blips on every tile, then you go to the motion tracker, where you're going to draw motion tracker cards based on the player count. I believe it's, I'll have to double check. I think for 1 to 2 players, you draw 3 motion trackers. And then 4 to 5, I think you draw 4 motion trackers, or 4 to 6. So I'll double check that as well. And you'll just draw it, and you resolve the number of spawns that take place. I find that drawing 3 motion tracker cards when I'm playing with 2 characters, it can be very overwhelming. So I usually just do 1 or 2. Or no, so I just do 1 per character that I'm playing, and it's usually a bit more balanced. And then after that, you get into the finish phase, where you resolve any finish effects, I guess, and then you want to check for any victory or defeat conditions, and then there's that small cleanup portion. So I'm gonna get the board set up for a bug hunt. I'm gonna choose one of those random maps for the bug hunt mission, and I'm gonna set up the board, and I'm gonna come back to the table to show you how Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Core is played. I'll see you soon. All right, I'm back. I've got my table set up for a game of Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Core, the cooperative survival board game. I changed my mind. I decided I'm going to go with mission 3. Originally, I was going to do a bug hunt, but I realized I don't think it captures the essence of this. What the goal of this board game is to recreate that Aliens experience of going through, and survival is just the name of this game anyways, no matter which way you look at it. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, at the end of the day, you are trying to survive. But this is mission 3. This is the survive mission. We've rescued Newt. We're in the med lab. And unfortunately, Ripley and Newt, they decided to take a little nap, and they woke up, and Burt decided to, well, screw them over. So there's a setup here. You see the board set up. I've got my computer terminal here. My starting Marines are hanging out in the lounge at Medbay, just fortifying their defenses. We've got Ripley and Newt on this side, and they're inside the med lab, and they so happen to be stuck with the 2 face huggers ready to say hello. Sorry, I don't think this is focusing in. Right here, right there, a face hugger. So there's 2 of them. And face huggers work a little unique in this game. They're outlined here. Face hugger tokens act exactly the same as alien models. However, when a character fails its defense roll against a face hugger attack, they are not killed or captured. Instead, you place the face hugger token on that character's card. They've basically implanted you. If the character survives this mission, it is nevertheless counted as killed at the end of the game. So, if you look at the proximity of these and the face huggers move 6, they're definitely going to come within range of Ripley. So it's not good. It's not good for her. So here we go. So we've got all the setup. We've got a crate token, and that allows you to do, I believe, Ripley may take an interact action with the crate to equip for free a weapon from her hand, or from the endurance deck. Then remove the crate token. So that allows her to pick up a weapon, because as of right now, she has no weapons. And you'll see that I've basically equipped my crew. The computer token allows a character to interact and may do a tech test. If they pass, you can look at one of the flipped down blip tokens to see what the number is behind it. Basically, we're trying to rescue Ripley and Newt, and we have to get to one of the exit points. That is the extraction. While this is going on, Bishop is in the behind the scenes trying to get that. Trying to get that their escape plane in the dropship. So it's going to say at the start of each turn, beginning on turn 4, roll a Marine die. If the result is equal to or less than the number on the turn dial, Bishop has successfully called in the dropship and opened up an exit. When this happens, place 2 blip tokens on each exit token, then roll an alien die to find out which exit is open. On a 1 to 3, it's exit A. On otherwise, it's exit B. So we have 2 exit points. You'll see on the map. I think you can see it down there, right? Yes, you can. Also, something different is the use of, where did I put them? Sentry guns. This is new, and I like it. Just like the movie, we've deployed some sentry guns, and we can place them anywhere on the map. It is followed along with the respective remote sentry control. It tells you how many rounds. Basically, any blip, alien, or character that enters the line of sight of the gun will fire. On a 7 or less, it's a hit, and it obliterates anything in the space. So if you have a 1 blip, you don't flip the blip over, it just blows it up. If it's an alien with alien tokens underneath, every token gets blipped. That gets blown out, and including your own character. So this is where it becomes a little bit of a challenge, but in terms of the direction of the sentry gun, it matters. This one is facing, A is facing this way, B is facing this way. So basically anything within its line of sight, which is this arc here, it will shoot at, and anything for gun B in this arc. It obviously can't shoot through walls, and anything that moves past it, it can't see behind it. So that's basically the way that the sentry gun works. For the motion tracker deck, we'll be shuffling 3 random threat level 1s and 3 random threat level 2 cards together, and those 6 cards will be on the top of the remaining motion tracker deck. We don't draw motion tracker cards until turn 2, so we get 1 turn of breathing, semi-breathing. Obviously, the mission fails if all your characters are killed or captured, and once all surviving characters move on to the exit token, the mission ends, and you have moved on. So right now with Ripley and Newt, they are trapped. Oh, I forgot. They are trapped with barricaded doors in the lab. They are not allowed to take barricaded actions to remove them, nor can they start or equip weapon cards until Ripley takes an interact action. So we're going to place a barricaded door here, and they're barricaded, so they don't get to do anything. So we're going to go ahead and if one thing I wasn't sure about, and maybe someone can comment. I didn't see specific rules. There are double doors here, and I'm not sure if it requires 2 barricade tokens or just 1 to indicate that the door is closed. I mean, technically it's functioning as 1 door, so maybe someone can comment and just let me know. Otherwise, I've been playing it very, very wrong. So, that's it. We've gone through the face huggers, so I think we are good to go to start. Just a quick overview. I've got Hudson and Hicks. Those are my Marines that I'm playing. Everyone else is a grunt. You'll notice that for both Hudson and Hicks, I have equipped them with the M41A pulse rifle. So at the beginning of any mission, this is where you have the freedom to equip whatever equipment you need. Now, the one thing you want to keep in mind is the more cards you equip, the less cards you have in your endurance deck. One of the things also with your grunts, you'll notice that they're sadly not equipped to the maximum. I am not equipping equipment or too many weapons, only because 1, I want to keep more cards in the endurance decks. 2, this is the problem with having 6 characters, which is allowed to have all these extra cards and stuff. Now you have to keep track of so much stuff, and there are times where I've missed, certain opportunities with an equipment that they've had. So I like to try to focus on just the 2 characters, but the other characters need at least a weapon so that they can actually be useful and shoot. Both Hicks and Hudson also have a helmet and body armor equipped, as well as the M40 grenades, and I'll go through those if I get to the point of using them. There is a marker to denote active player. I will activate Hicks first, and we can begin. So at the start, this is the Marine phase. Any beginning of round effects would take place. I've got a, because I'm starting with Hicks, I'm going to do on activation, his special ability is you may draw an endurance card. And actually, I think I will, or do I? Yeah, I'm going to draw one because he actually has a passive ability, which is once per turn, you may exhaust a card from your hand to reroll Hicks's failed action attack roll. So I've got an event card. It doesn't cost me anything, which is actually not bad. Reveal 2 endurance cards. You may put them in your hand or place them at the bottom of the endurance deck. So I'm going to play this event card. When I play this event card, it gets discarded. So I no longer have that in my hand. I'm going to draw 2. And I have 2 more event cards. One is stand up any 1 knockdown character. The other one is each character may move up to 2 spaces. Marine characters that move may draw an endurance card. Now, they each have a cost of 3, which means I have to exhaust 3 cards per card if I want to play them. So I'm going to hold them into my hand. I'm not going to use them. Hopefully I remember I have it. And now Dwayne can take 2 actions, in which case he's going to move. He can move up to 8. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And actually, no, hold on. I'm going to move here. I'm going to move there because I want Hudson. I want Hudson in there. So next thing I can do is I can move 2 grunts on Hicks's turn because he has a rank of 2. So we're going to move Vasquez 1, 2, 3, 4. How many movements does she have? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to move here. And then I'm going to move Gorman over to the computer terminal. That's 1 move. And as a second move or second action, I'm going to have him do a interact with the computer terminal because he's next to it to reveal this blip. It's 4. Okay, that looks like fun. Okay, 4. And that ends Hicks's turn. He has no end of activation or end of turn effects. Now we pass the activation over to Hudson. And Hudson, on activation, you may recycle any number of cards from your hand, and he's not going to. So he's going to hold on to that, and now he's going to move. He's going to move 8, because it's 2 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's so close. He needs to get that door so he can open the barricade, but we'll see what happens. Okay, and now he gets to control another grunt that has not been activated, and he could activate either one of these. So maybe what he'll do is, it doesn't really matter what we do here. They can't take a barricade action. They can't do anything. So we're going to move Frost. We're going to move Frost over here. He's going to stand right there. Okay, that's it. Newt's not going to move. Ripley won't move. It won't make a difference because the face huggers are right there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate the aliens. Now, the face huggers here activate like aliens, so they're going to move 6. The moment they become adjacent, they're going to attack, but Ripley has the opportunity to roll for defense. So she's going to move, it's going to move 1, 2, it's adjacent, so she's going to take her dice and roll. She needs a 5 or less to swat that thing away. If she rolls a 1, she actually stabs it. I rolled a 6. Awesome. So the face hugger is now on Ripley's card. She's considered dead for the next round. The next one's going to move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up to Newt. Newt has a defense of 5, but she has no melee. She rolls an 8, and she also gets a face hugger on her. Well, so they're dead. They're dead for this round, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So now it's just a matter of survival. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the activate the blips. We've got 2 tiles with blips on them. So we're going to pull this back here. We're going to start with this tile over here and roll. It's going to roll 5 spaces for each blip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The door is open. 5, up to here, up to here. And if we take a quick look, I don't think this sentry unit has line of sight yet, so that's okay. And then we'll take a look at this tile, and it's going to roll 2. So we're going to move this up 2. Okay. And now we're going to draw our motion tracker deck, which I somehow left off the camera here. So because I'm playing a single player game, but I'm controlling 2 characters, but I'm just going to try to take it light. I'm going to draw 2 cards. First motion tracker. 1 blip at location 3, so it's going to pop up. And then we're going to reveal a card from the endurance deck. If it's a weapon, we'll place another blip at spawn 4. If it's a hazard, we'll place another blip at spawn point 3. It is an event, so neither takes place. Anything that's revealed goes at the bottom of your endurance deck after it's used. It does not get exhausted because you just revealed it. And then we're going to play another reveal another card. It is another blip at location 3. Players must either discard 1 barricade in play or place a second blip at spawn point 1. Well, I'm going to remove this barricade in play. Oh, darn. That's too bad. If there are no barricades in play, then you have to place an extra blip, which we don't. Okay, so that's it. So that ends the alien phase. We now go into the finished phase if there's anything to do. There isn't, so now we're going to increase our round to round 2. And starting at round 2, oh, sorry. My mistake. I wasn't supposed to draw those motion trackers. So I'm just going to go turn 2. We're going to take these 2 back. We know what these 2 cards are. Sorry, I forgot that rule. Actually, that would have just made things harder. And this barricade is right here still. Okay, so no motion trackers drawn. We go straight to our marine phase. We reset our aim dial, which we don't have to do. And let's start with Hudson. Hudson's going to activate first. So his first action, he's going to move right beside the barricaded door. And then as a second action, he's going to do an interact to try to break the barricade. And he has a tech value of 7, so it's 7 or less. It's a 10. He failed. He failed. This is fantastic. Okay, and that's it. There's nothing else that he can do. He can control one additional grunt. It makes no difference, but we're going to put Ripley over here beside the door, knocking on the door. Help me, Hudson, help me. And then I think we're just going to go ahead and have Hicks. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. And the door is open. And, well, actually, no, the door shouldn't open. We'll put him right here. We'll put him on this side behind Vasquez. We're kind of in a stuck position here because if we open those doors, the sentry unit is going to shoot at me. And I don't want that. Gorman, Hicks did his move, so Gorman's going to do his action, and he's going to reveal a blip. That's 2. And another one this side. It's another 4. Oh, so there's quite a few up there. And that was Gorman. We'll have Newt move over, and then Vasquez is going to stay there. She's not going to move. I think we're just going to have to sit tight until we have some aliens spawning out. So we're going to go straight into the alien phase. We're going to activate aliens. There are no aliens to activate. And then we're going to go to the blips. We'll start with this side, these blips here. They're going to move 6. So this one's going to move 1. B gun's going to fire. It's going to roll 2 dice. On a 7, it hits. And we roll the 3, so we get to choose it. So that one's that. So it's now down to 400. This one's going to move in. Line of sight. We roll 2 dice. It's a hit. So this blip is gone as well. We go down to 350. This one's going to move 1, 2. And then we're going to roll 2 dice. And it's another hit. Now you think this is easy, but once they run out of ammo, that's it. So that's down to 300. And then this last one is going to move in, and it's another hit, and this goes down here. So B gun 250, A gun 450. So we're going to now move this over here. It moves 2. Not quite there yet. It would have been nice if they came out, because now we're kind of in a pickle. But either way, B gun and A gun, we're going to have to sit tight. But Hudson's going to try to get in there. So the next thing to do is, because we're in round 2, we are actually going to draw motion tracker cards. So we're going to draw a motion tracker. So we know exactly what it was. It's going to be 1 and 2, and this one. Okay, so players must either discard 1 barricade. So we're going to discard this barricade. So we free Ripley, just like that. And that's it. So now we're going to go to that finish phase, and now we're moving into the next marine phase, and we'll have Hicks activate. And I think what we're going to do is, it's at turn 4 is when we roll the dice to see if Bishop has got the is on turn 3 now. Turn 4 is where we have Bishop. We determine if Bishop has successfully gotten a dropship. So let's move Hicks. I want to move here, but I can't, because that sentry unit's gonna start wiping me. So I'm just gonna move Ellen or Ripley. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So she's beside the crate. We're gonna move Newt into this area, and that was the 2. Then we're gonna move Hudson. I think we're just gonna jam up in here. We'll move Hudson out here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll move Frost with him too. We'll keep Frost close to him. We'll keep him frosty. Yeah, we'll put him here. Okay. And Vasquez is going to stay point. So we're going to move a couple over here and on this side, and hopefully we'll find out which exit is going to be open. Okay. So aliens move. No aliens. But now we're going to move. Now we're going to move the blips. So we're going to start with this side. And mind you, even though these blips have come up, it's not until they move that the sentry unit does something. So this blip is going to move 1. Sentry unit gets a hit. Goes down to 200. Next one moves forward. It's another hit. And the gun goes down. We are at 150. And that's it. Now we're going to move this tile on this side for these blips. It's 5. So 1, 2. Gun A is going to fire 1. And it's a hit. So we'll take it down to 400. Get rid of this blip. This one's going to move up here. It is another hit. The star is a 1. So we're down to 350. This one's going to move here. It's another hit. And then this one will move here. And it is a hit. 7 or less. So those cleared out really quickly. A gun has 250. B gun has 150. We are kind of in a position where there's not much that we can do, because we need the guns to finish clearing. So maybe it was better that I aimed down here instead, rather than aim down this hallway. But that's okay. It's done. So we're gonna draw some motion tracker cards. Okay, at location 1, we're going to reveal a card. It is equipment, nothing happens, so we're going to put that at the bottom of my endurance deck. And reveal another card. False alarm, recycle 1 card. So if I had a card in my exhaust pile, I can recycle it to the bottom of the endurance, but I don't. And now that ends the round, so now it's turn 4. And it is at the end, at the start of each turn, starting on turn 4. We're going to roll a marine die. It is a 5. If the number on the is less than or equal to the turn dial, bishop has successfully called in dropship. So there's a 5. We're on turn 4, so he failed, or he has not called in dropship yet. So all these guys, we're just going to wait. At the beginning of Hicks's turn, I'm going to draw an endurance card just to see what I get. It's an equipment. Discard this card to barricade a door next to this character. Oh, I might keep that. That might be useful. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we'll use Gorman to take a look at this one. It's a 2, and that's it. We're going to immediately just jump to the end of the marine phase because I have no need to position, but I will position maybe Frost and that and maybe Ellen, she's going to do an interact to equip a weapon. Okay, so her tech test is a 5. She got a 1, so that means I can take a look at my endurance deck and I can equip a weapon for free. And I'm going to equip a, come on, M40A pulse rifle. We'll shuffle the endurance deck and put it back. And here we go. So nobody else is going to move. We're jumping straight to the alien, no aliens. And now we're going to move that blip. It's going to move 2, so 1, 2. And that's it. Surprisingly, we're waiting for something to happen out here. So now we're going to reveal 2 motion tracker cards. So we're 1 at spawn point 2. Players must either discard a barricade or place a second blip at spawn point 1, which we will. And then we're going to draw another card, which is blip location 2. Exhaust 1 card for each character within line of sight of this blip, and there are none. So that's it. Sorry guys, it's kind of a slow start only because we're waiting for a couple of things. We need the sentry units to exhaust so we can start moving our way. And we also need Bishop to figure out if he's getting the dropship or not. So now we're going to turn 5. And we're going to roll. It's a 9, so he still has not gotten the dropship back yet. Not great. Okay, so once again, we're going to have Gorman do his action, but this is Hicks. Hicks not doing anything. I could draw an endurance card, which I think I will. And I'll take a look at it. It is a weapon. It's a backup weapon. That's okay. And now I'll have Gorman do his interact action of taking a look. That's a 2. And the one over here is a 1. So not too bad. Not too bad. Hudson will go next, but he's not going to do anything. And I think everyone else is in a relatively good position. Ripley has already equipped. Oh, sorry, we get rid of this one. She's already equipped her weapon, so she doesn't have to go anywhere, but I'll move her anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll keep Newt behind Hicks and Vasquez. It's not thematic. She would always be with Ripley anyways. Okay, so end of the marine phase. We go into the alien phase. There are no aliens, so now we're going to move the blips. We'll start with this side. It's moving just 1. Oh, these are slow moving blips. And then we'll move this side. It's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. Now we're going to draw 2 more cards. 1 blip at location 2. If this spawn point already has a blip or an alien model, move this blip 4 spaces forward. Nope. And then we're going to reveal another one, which is 2 blips at location 1. And we have to exhaust 6 cards. So we're exhausting 6 cards from our endurance deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And then that's it. We go to the end of the phase. We're going to the finish phase. Nothing happens because we're not there yet. And we go into the marine phase. So in the marine phase, I think we're going to hang tight one more time. we're gonna do Gorman's action, which is so we'll start with Hicks. Hicks is not gonna do anything, but he could draw an endurance card, but he's not. Oh, sorry, I forgot. We're on turn 6, and we roll. It's a 5. So once that happens, we place 2 blips at each exit. Exit A, exit B, and then we're gonna roll. We're gonna roll a alien die to see which exit we're going to. It's 5. So on a 4, 4, 5, or 6, it's going to be exit B. So exit B on this side is where we're going. So we've got the 2 aliens over here, or 2 blips over here, and we want to go this way. So we're gonna have to. What are we gonna do? Not much. Not much right now. So Hicks is going to go first, but he's not going to do anything. What we can do is we can take a rest action. And when you do a rest action, you can draw up to 2 cards, and then you can recycle 3 cards from your hand or from the endurance from the exhaust deck. So I'm going to take 3 cards from the exhaust pile and put them underneath my endurance. Now, I didn't have to do that because my endurance deck is still pretty solid, but in other situations, your exhaust pile may be quite full, especially if you're firing a lot of guns, so it doesn't hurt to have it refreshed. And I think I can control, sorry, Gorman's right there. I can control Gorman, and he can reveal twice by doing interact, and that's fine. And we're just going to go ahead and skip to the alien phase. No aliens, but we're going to move those blips, starting with this side. They're going to move 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Within the line of sight of the B gun, it's going to hit and eliminate this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this one's a miss. And it's going to stay there. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, not within line of sight, so that's it. I'm going to have to make it one more run. And now this side, this tile is going to move 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I forgot these ones. This was 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can see that these blips are starting to pile up pretty high. Okay, so now we're at the end of the blip. We're going to draw 2 motion tracker cards. Location 4. Exhaust 1 card for each character within line of sight. There is no character within line of sight. And we draw another one, which is place a tunnel token in a square that is within line of sight and next to this character. So basically, when you're drawing this this card, it would be whichever active character is drawing this card, right? So so here we'll go with revealing a card. So first of all, the tunnel token looks like this, and we're going to put it next to we'll put it next to Frost. Now basically what happens is an alien just came through the ceiling. That's what's basically happening here. They're inside the perimeter, and then we're going to reveal a card. If it's a event or equipment, we're going to place 1 blip on the tunnel token. If it's a weapon or hazard, place 2 blips on every tunnel token. So I have no there's no hope here. It is a weapon. So I revealed it. It is a weapon. I'm placing 2 blips on every tunnel token. So I'm going to place the 2 blips. Obviously, they're in line of sight, so I'm going to flip them right over. It's a 1 and a 2. So we've got 1 alien right here, and one alien with a token underneath to represent 2. So a total of 3 right there. It's a little crowded, but that's okay. Okay. And that's it. We're now going to move into the marine phase, in which case we are going to be in a little bit of trouble here. So we've got Hudson, we've got Ripley. Ripley is kind of blocked by Hudson in his location. So we're going to start with Hudson. We're going to start with Hudson. And the first thing he's going to do is he's going to take a shoot action and hopefully kill. So he's going to take one shoot action. So his M4A pulse rifle, if he wants to use that one. Exhaust a card when this character takes an attack action with this weapon. After the character takes an attack action with this weapon, they may take a free action, attack action, by using the grenade weapon that they have equipped. Now he could, but we don't want to do that. It's within 4 spaces of the character in line of sight. It could, thematically, I would not do that with 2 characters right adjacent to me. So the first thing I can do is exhaust a card from my endurance deck, and I'm going to roll a die. And for Hudson, his aim dial is on 7, so we're going to take a first shot. We're going to aim at this one right in front of me. I get a 3. So I killed the alien in one shot. There's no acid splatter here. And then I'm going to take my aim dial, and I'm going to turn it down to 5. Now, there is a key word on here that's in the rulebook, which says full auto. Full auto means that if I want to, I can exhaust another card. After firing this weapon, I can exhaust a card to fire again the same card or the same weapon. So I'm going to fire another shot. I'm going to attack this group of aliens of 2. I'm going to take my attack dice. I'm going to roll. I get a 2. That is another hit, so I'm taking the token underneath it off. So there's one more left. His aim dial goes down to 4. So he's clearly trying to shoot. And I forgot to roll for Bishop to see if he got in, but that's okay. And my last, it's a 1. Perfect. So I have basically shot all the aliens out and kept Frost alive. So now my aim dial goes down to 3. This does not reset until the beginning of my next marine activation. So something I've been forgetting, unfortunately, and again, this is one of the issues, is at the end of every turn for Hudson, I was supposed to reveal a card. But that's okay. I'll do it right now. But before I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use... I could use Gorman, but I'm not going to. Hudson actually has another action, and I think with that action, we are going to have him... Oh, gosh. I don't want to move him. I'm going to go around to the other side. Okay. So we're going to have him move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. We're going to move Ripley all the way over here, and Frost will stay where he is. Okay. At the end of his activation, he's going to reveal a card. It is a hazard. We have to resolve this right away. Place this on your hero character. Each time this character activates, reveal a card. And they have some consequences. So we'll put this on beside Hudson every time he activates. Okay, next person to activate we're going to do is Hicks. But I don't think Hicks is going to do anything because the sentry gun on A is still there and we have a lot coming through. So let's weed them through. Let's weed them through and see what we can do, all right? So we're going to go ahead. I forgot to roll for... No, I did. We know it's exit B. Exit B is where we're going. So what we're going to do now is go into the alien phase. There are no aliens. If there was the alien here, it would be attacking Frost. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move the blips. We'll start with this side. Actually, we'll start with this tile. So this tile, it's going to move 3. It moves 1. B gun is going to shoot. And it hits. And now B gun is empty. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next will be this tile. It's going to move 6, so it's going to move 1. A gun shoots, and it hits. So this one's gone. We're going to move this one up here. A gun is going to take another shot, and it hits. Down to 150. This one's going to move here. A gun's going to shoot. It's going to hit. So this one's gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to take another shot. It's a hit. And now we're down to 50 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Oh, okay. Okay. So that ends. We're going to do some motion trackers. here we go. False alarm. We get to recycle one card. We'll take it from the endurance deck and put it at the bottom of, the exhaust pile into our endurance deck. And the second one is they're in the ceiling. So we're putting 2 blips on location 3. Place a tunnel token in a square within line of sight. Another tunnel token, and this time we'll put it beside Hicks or Vasquez. No, beside Hicks. We'll put it beside Hudson. Hicks doesn't even have space beside him, so. Okay, so we're going to put in a tunnel token right over here. We're going to reveal a card, and it's going to be 3 blips on all tunnels. Sure, 3 blips. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they're all going to get revealed because they're right within line of sight. Okay, so we got 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, and 1. What a mess. This is a total mess. This is a total mess. Oh man, Frost has got to get out of there. So as I understand it, I'll have to double check, but the breakaway rule, not breakaway rule, but if you have a character next to an alien, if you move away and you become adjacent to another alien, you have to stop. So there's no breakaway, but there's definitely, I guess, you have to stop the moment you come into contact with another character. So we're going to do 3 over here. I'm going to do 1. And this one, which is a 4. So I would comment that this is kind of a little fiddly, to have to do this. But it does, the whole point of this is for tension. You don't know how many, and all of a sudden Frost is not looking good. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here. Okay, so that is the that was this card. Which card did I just pull open? Yes, they're in the ceiling. Okay, so they're in the ceiling. That's it. That ends that motion tracker phase. And now we go into the marine phase. We're going to reset all our aim dials. Aim dial. Okay. And now we're going to activate. We're on turn 7. Turn 7, it doesn't matter. It only goes up to 6 turns because that's just the way the game is. And instead now what we're going to do is, let's start with, I'm going to say Hudson. I'm going to start with Hudson. And as far as I can see that, yeah, this is really tricky because I want to move Frost out of the way. So for Hudson, he kind of has line of sight, not the greatest. If he moves over 1, then he can take 1 action. He could use his grenades, if he wanted to, and shoot the alien and maybe do some damage. And maybe I'll just show you just for the sake of that. But Frost is kind of in the way, but it is what it is. Okay, so first action we're going to move. We're going to move into position right here. And his second action, he is going to shoot and aim. I believe the aliens do not block line of sight. But for sake of argument, I'm going to aim at this one first. Okay, so first I'm going to exhaust a card, aiming with my M41 pulse rifle, and I'm going to shoot. Okay, I get a 6. So I turn down my aim dial. I hit this one. There's 2 underneath here. Okay. And then I'm going to exhaust another card because I have full auto. I'm going to shoot again. I need a 5 or less. It's a 7, so I missed. So after I make the attack with this, I can make a free action using the grenade launcher. So I'm going to do the M40 grenade. Discard this card to make an attack with this weapon. Choose a space that is within 4 spaces of this character and in line of sight. Roll for each model and token in that space and within 1 space of it. This weapon always hits on a roll of 6 or less. So I'm going to discard this one. I'm going to aim for a space that is 4 spaces and line of sight, which would be this one. I'm going to aim here. And I'm going to go ahead and roll. It always hits on a 6 or less, so we'll start. So for the first, there's 3 tokens here. I'm going to get rid of 1. Okay. And then I get to do it again for that one. It's a 10. I missed that one. It's an 8. I missed that one. And for the model, I get a 3. So I will just take one more out here. So I got 2. And then within that space and within 1 space of it, this weapon always hits. So I'm going to go ahead with the alien closest to me. It's a 6, so I get rid of this one. And then the last one is a 3, so I get this one. Okay. Now I can move. Oh, sorry, now I can move. I can do something. This is not good. Okay, so I discard this card, and now because of Hudson's ability, at the end of his activation, which I'll do after this, but I'm going to move Frost. He can move away, he can move here, and he doesn't have to stop because there's no aliens beside him. So you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, actually no, we'll move him here. And then as his second action, that's his first action, his second action is Frost is going to use his flamethrower. He has a weapon, cumbersome and it's close. Exhaust 2 cards to make an attack with this weapon. Choose a space that is within 2 spaces and a line of sight. Roll for each model and token in that space and within 1 space of it. This weapon always hits on a 7 or less. So I'm going to exhaust 2 cards to make an attack, and I'm going to attack this one right here. So I'm going to roll for each token or model. It's a 7 or less. So I get 1. I'm going to roll again for the model underneath. Oh, it's another one. That's great. And then once more, it's a 5. So I got rid of this one. And within 1 space of it, I'll do the guy next to him. It's a 7, so this one's gone. All right. Well, that was nice. Okay, so that was his weapon. And now Hicks gets to go. But we're still trapped here because of this gun, and unfortunately I can't help these guys out. So Hicks is going to... Oh, we gotta move. We gotta get them out of there. So I think what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and just skip Hicks from doing anything, and we'll go ahead and make him use his... Where is his pulse rifle? I thought I had a pulse rifle on him. Oh, I missed that. Let me just find a pulse rifle for him. It should have been there. Okay. So, we'll go ahead and move a grunt, and we're going to go ahead and activate Gorman. Gorman is going to take an action to shoot. He has a M41 pulse rifle with full auto as well. He's going to exhaust a card. He's aiming at that alien closest to him. It's a 6, but his aim is 4, so he missed that one completely, and we turn that aim dial to 3. And he could exhaust another card. No, he has to take another if it's successful, right? It's only if it's successful. So we're going to take another action to exhaust a card, and hopefully he gets a 3. It's a 7. He missed. He's terrible. He is absolutely useless. Okay, so Hudson or Hicks still has 1 more to control, but we're not going to. It should be Vasquez up there. So let's move Ripley. 1, 2, 3, 4. And she's going to shoot the alien. She's going to exhaust a card. Her skill, her aim is at 5. It's an 8. She missed that one. The face hugger must be in her way. And we'll exhaust another card to take another... Oh, wait, she can't. She can't do that, sorry, because that was her second action. And it was a 5. Hilarious. Okay, so that's it. So now we're going to the alien phase. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate the alien. The alien, let's go to Gorman. 1, 2, before it attacks, Gorman has an opportunity to attack back. And his aim dial is at 3. He has a melee of 1. So we're going to see. He gets a 1! He gets a 1, so he shoots the alien before anything happens, and the aim dial goes down to 2. We're going to activate this alien, and this one we'll go ahead and move towards Frost. So Frost is going to do his reaction attack, and he has his pistol, which hits on a roll of 3 or less, and it's a 2. So he shot the alien, and that's good. And then this last alien is going to, the last 2 aliens is going to move here, right in front. And it's a little different because there's actually 2 aliens there. For every token, you add 1 to the result. So he's shooting with his pistol again. He doesn't have to exhaust. Sorry, with Gorman, when he shot, he had to exhaust a card. Sorry, I missed that part. And then with Frost, he's going to shoot again with his backup weapon. It's on a roll of 3 or less, and he hit a 4. So with this result, it's technically a 5 because there's 1 extra token there underneath the alien. So you add +1 for every token underneath the alien token. So he failed, which means the alien's going to attack. So now Frost would roll for his defense. And his defense is a 7. He rolled a 7 plus the token that's there, which is an 8. Sorry, go back to the when he was shooting. You didn't add. It's only during the defense roll you add. So it'd technically be a value of 8 because that alien has an extra alien token underneath it. So he's knocked down. The alien got to him. Now, what will happen is at the beginning of the next alien turn, Frost can stand up if there are no aliens beside him. If there is an alien beside him, he gets captured. And the alien and any token plus Frost, they get removed from the board. Okay, so that was the aliens movement. There are no others. And now we move into the moving of the blips. So here we go. We're going to start with this tile here first. And we've got 2, 1, 2. And the door is, well, the door does open. It is line of sight, so we're going to show it. So it's 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Technically, this is line of sight as well, so this one has 4. Oops. And we're going to start with this tile to move it. B gun's empty, that's why it's not shooting. So these 2 are going to move 1, and this one here moves 2. So this one's going to move up 1. A gun's going to shoot. It does get a hit, and that is the last. It is out of ammo now. This one's going to move 1, 2, right there. Okay. So now we would go into the motion tracker phase. We're going to spawn 2 at location 1. Players must choose to either exhaust 4 cards or place 1 more blip on spawn point 4. So we're going to exhaust 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I can handle any more. And then the next motion tracker card is another blip in location 1. If this spawn point already has a blip, or alien model, move this blip 4 spaces to the nearest character. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. So we've done our spawning, and I'm going to take this opportunity right now just to pause at this game. As you can see, once the blips start moving in, it can be very, very overwhelming. I wanted to just point out when Frost was doing his attack, he missed. He rolled a 7. He was supposed to get a 5 or less, and that's fine. On his defense roll, when the alien was attacking, for every alien token that underneath the attacking alien, you add +1 to their defense roll. So he had rolled I think a 5 or a 7, so that would have been an 8 in terms of defense roll. So obviously, with a larger swarm coming towards you, your chances of defending yourself become less and less. So basically my strategy here would be, now that A gun is empty, I'd be able to start funneling through here and trying to get down. And ideally, if I can get all my characters in this tunnel and then barricade this side, that buys me some time before the aliens can get through. And I believe for barricade, when they barricade a door, the aliens can try to break it down. I think they have to roll a 6 in order for them to successfully break open a barricade. So I'm just going to stop it here. I have a feeling that this is not going to go well. It doesn't look great, and obviously Newt and Ripley at the end of this mission, they're going to die because they've got the face huggers on them. So it's tense. I find this very tense because you don't know the blips, you don't know the value coming at you. So it can be quite a daunting experience when you're trying to survive. I like that, though. I like that tension. I like that there's an unknown. And if we do a quick flip over now, we have 3, 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, 3. Right. So almost like 20. 20 aliens on the board. And with potentially more spawns to come through. So, and then as you're shooting, you're exhausting cards in order to shoot your weapons. So this endurance deck already is pretty slimmed down, just a handful. I could have taken a few rest actions, since some of my characters didn't do anything, to replenish some of those endurance cards. I also, it hasn't come to the point yet, but you also have some defense. If the character fails a defense roll, reveal a card. If you reveal equipment, you count as passing that defense roll. Otherwise, you exhaust this card and you don't pass the defense roll. So there's lots of things to keep track of. And like I said, with 6 characters fully equipped, it's too much. I think it's too much. I don't find it enjoyable. All of a sudden now I'm managing all the cards and all the text and all the events rather than just playing the game and enjoying it. I really like this theme. I really like the miniatures. I really like the idea behind the blips and the movement and the aliens and the way they attack. You have a reaction attack. You've got the classic alien weapons that you're using. You've got the sentry. I like all these things. What really bugs me is just this management of so many characters and all their cards with it. And I'm not even equipping all my grunts with their full set or full complement of cards. And you don't have to. Even if, if they were all characters, if I had 6 people, we don't have to equip, 2 weapons and 2 equipment. Because when you look at that, you're already taking, 24 cards out of your endurance deck? That's a lot. Especially when you start to burn through them. And, there's like ones like Vasquez, she has a smart gun. Exhaust 3 cards when a character takes an action with this weapon. She has an ability which actually decreases it down to 2. When rolling for an attack with this weapon, you roll 2 dice instead of 1, discarding the highest result. This character cannot equip a backup weapon, which is fine. And then it's a full auto as well, which means that she can continue to exhaust a card, and provided that she still has successes, she can still continue to exhaust 2 cards, 2 cards, 2 cards, just to take shots. And if you think about the number of aliens coming out, if she was out there covering point, she could burn through the endurance deck pretty quickly. So I like the idea of managing your endurance deck. Your hand size, I only had like a few cards, only come in handy with certain characters or certain conditions where you need to have cards from your hand to exhaust, or you have cards that you want to pay the cost for to help you out a little bit. I like the idea of following the story. I've played through all 3 missions, and it really did remind me of the movie. It really, especially this mission, because the face huggers, I'm trying to run away from them, but there's nowhere to run. So really, the last time I played with this with the mission, I had to try to break down that the barricade. Fortunately, Newt and Ripley avoided. They rolled their defense and had a success, so they avoided the face hugger the first round. So I had my Marines break through the barricade, get into the med lab, and then kill the face huggers because they act like aliens. The moment they move adjacent to another character or start their turn beside or adjacent to another character, you can have a reactive fire by all the Marines within the vicinity. So then you have that opportunity to do something about it. I should have done that here, where not just Frost can do a reaction, not just because of the alien being adjacent to him, but technically Gorman could have done a reaction shot for him too. But I forgot about him. So it's anyone within line of sight when the alien moves adjacent or starts their turn adjacent to another character, you have that opportunity to do a reaction fire. If it wasn't for that, I don't think there's any way that you could win, because at least you need that fighting chance. I like the way the motion tracker deck works. I think it's so cool. It does feel like, when you flip it over, you have no idea how many spawns are going to happen. Other dungeon crawl games, it's always like, okay, spawn 2 characters at this location, spawn 2 characters or enemies at this location. So it's very consistent. It doesn't really change up that much. But this one, and on top of that, you don't know what's underneath the blips. So you don't know where they're going to spawn. You don't know how many they're going to spawn, and you don't know how many aliens are going to be spawning because of the blip. That is very thematic for this game, and I actually really enjoyed that. So if it wasn't for the management of all these characters, all their cards, all their weapons, all their equipment, timing, activating, I think this would be a much more streamlined game. But it's still enjoyable for me, and it's only because of the IP. I am feeling like I am Ripley and Hicks and Hudson, going through, trying to survive, trying to get to the exit, trying to get to the extraction point or the APC and gun on out of there, break through the walls and get out and try to stay alive. So that basically is the gist of it. I think there's enough here for replay value, but I really feel like I really want to get that Alien Queen just to complete the story. I don't think I need the other ones, the 5x5, and I think there's a couple additional character expansions that you can get. I don't think I need those. What I really want to do is be able to walk through the story from start to finish, kill the alien or blow her up, and then get on the dropship and just punch it right out of there. So I hope you enjoyed that. This was Aliens, another glorious day in the core. I feel very cooperative. I feel it is very tense, a very one other thing I wanted to mention was kind of the barricading the doors. I like that as a strategy effect. I know there's the other game I was looking at before, which was Resident Evil, where you can kind of manage the zombies by closing doors behind you, and that sort of prevents noise, prevents drawing their attention, and prevents them moving closer to you. This is kind of the same feel. You want to barricade certain areas to prevent or buy you some time before the alien gets through. But you still run that risk. There is a 1 in 6 chance that they will break through that barricade door and still precede you. But you have that chance, and you have that way to mitigate their advancement. So that's one thing I also want to mention that I like about this game is there is a bit more strategy, placement, and what you can do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me at the table and playing through this walkthrough with me. And until next time, stay bored.